let's start. Hello and welcome everyone to this session that we have got today. And thanks for joining us on a Saturday evening. I know it's a huge ask, but we will try to be sure to make this time worthwhile. Okay. And so this is the first episode of something that we are calling RC Talks. So this is a series that we will have speakers from different technologies and they will be sharing their experience, their knowledge with people as much as they can. So we have got a lot of amazing people from different tech stacks. So our aim is to share as much as we can using this series. And we're kicking off with the first session or first episode of this amazing series that we're planning. Right. So today we will be talking about Power Platform. So a lot of people that do not know about Power Platform or they even know about Power Platform, but we will be talking about how Power Platform is helping out businesses, how it is helping out developers in their careers and everything. So we have got an amazing panel. We have got an amazing panel who are experts in their own fields, and we will be talking to each of them and try to understand how it is working out for them being a Power Platform consultant. Right. So let's kick off with introduction. So I will. So let's just go around the table and you can nominate the other person. So for example, if Clevin, we start with Clevin can then nominate the other person for introduction, right? So that I will shut up for a while. So Clevin, let's send it over to you.
So, hello everyone. I'm Clevin Fernandez. I work as a cloud consultant at Rapid Circle. I'm also a Microsoft Business Applications MVP. I also go ahead and evangelize and provide support for Mohimbi products. Other than that, I like to write a lot, so you can find my blogs at clevinfernandez.wordpress.com. Recently, I also have a YouTube channel, so you can go ahead and look out there as well. And other than that, I'm also a Power Automate super user. So that's pretty much it for me. Vishal, I think you can go next.
Yep. Thanks, Clevin. Hi, hello everybody. So this is Vishal. I'm also working with Rapid Circle from last 2.5 years. I have total around 17 years of experience, and it's from different things, from starting from .NET to SharePoint, and then some years in the management, and then again moved back to the technology. And thanks to Rapid Circle for that, for this opportunity. So from last 2.5 years working totally in the Power Platform, working for one of the biggest client of Rapid Circle, and yeah, liking it. It's a very nice technology. That's all. I will vote Suyok.
Sounds great. Thanks, Vishal. Hi guys, I'm Suyok Patti, one of the founders and managing director of Rapid Circle India. Been in technology around like last 17 years as well, like Vishal. We're kind of batchmates. I started my career from ASP Power Builder and Fox Pro, and then I moved to .NET. Basically ASP, then .NET, then SharePoint. Been around with SharePoint for almost like a decade and a half, right? It was a natural transition for me to get across Power Platform. Since last, I think 2018, 2019 was the year when I was first introduced to this platform. Apart from that, I'm responsible for entire India operation for Rapid Circle. I love writing a code whenever I get time, but I think Power Platform has been an interesting place for me to go and explore my technology side of love, particularly when I do get some time from my business side of responsibilities. So it's been fun exploring this stack, and yeah, looking forward to this session today. Thanks. I will nominate Srishti.
Thanks, Suyog. So I recently have started working with Rapid Circle. It's been almost 8 months now, and yeah, it feels really good. So basically, I'm involved with Power Platform since past almost 2 years, and it has been great learning curve for almost everyone. Power Platform is a huge curve, bringing in from pure code developers to low code, no code developers. And apart from work, I have been writing a couple of blogs at C Sharp Corner, and also have been awarded C Sharp Corner MVP there. And yes, I love to speak and present. So I've been part of many speaking conferences as well. So yeah, that's me. I will nominate Dipen. He can just start it.
Yeah, thank you so much, Rusti. Hello, everyone. I'm Dipensha and working with the Rapid Circle from last 7 months as a cloud consultant. I started my journey into the industry from 2014, and now I'm great to say that I'm learning from VB.NET to Power Platform. The journey was amazing. Uh, I'm writing blog, and you can reach me out on the dips365.wordpress.com, as well as I'm the active contributor of the PNP community in the Microsoft 365 platform. And on C# Corner also, you can get me and you can read my blogs. Recently, I awarded as a C# Corner MVP, and I'm exploring the Power Platform from last 2.5 years. That's me. Hand over to Rohan. Yep.
So yes, for folks out there, we have got some big shots working with here at Rapid Circle, and I'm the most, I'm the one who is getting to learn so much from these guys. I do not have any awards, but yes, I of course aspire to be one of these guys, right? So yep, going next. Most of you mentioned that you were working in some other technology, right? And now Power Platform is your thing. It excites you the most. So can we just walk through what was your previous role and how has the transition been for you when you started as Power Platform consultant? Clevin.
Okay, perfect. So this is a very good question because that's how it's about my journey to Power Platform. Okay, so I never started with Power Platform. I also started way back in 2013. The first technology that I worked with was SharePoint on-premise and SharePoint online administration. Okay, not development. So I was the guy who goes ahead and takes backups, goes ahead and does patching, helps people with permissions. Okay. Then one time my manager came to me and told me, Clevin, would you like to do a little bit more? There is a business user who wants to create workflows. And I was like, workflows? Wow, this seems like I'm going to be a developer. So I went and started talking with the business user. Okay. And I spoke to him and he said, I want to get the approval process done. At that point of time, there was InfoPath forms. So I started exploring InfoPath forms. I went ahead and created the form. I created the workflow and I delivered it. Okay, so that was my first project as so-called as a citizen developer. Okay, if you think there's no code involved in any of this, right? It's InfoPath is much similar to Power Apps and SharePoint Designer. You can compare it with Power Automate. Then slowly and steadily, I got introduced to other BPM platforms. Okay, now it's going to be non-Microsoft platforms such as Nintex and K2. So I created Nintex forms, Nintex workflows, helped them with migrations as well. In addition, K2, I created smart objects delivered. Then I got introduced to Power Automate first. Okay, I'll tell Power Automate first because I was migrating SharePoint Designer workflows. Then I got introduced to Power Apps because I was working with InfoPath and I wanted to go ahead and get those forms in SharePoint customized in Power Apps. So that was my journey here, right? And from there, I started contributing to the community and so on and so on. And now this year, I got awarded as an MVP. So long story short, if you want to be a citizen developer, go ahead and talk to your business, ask them the requirement. The work will come to you. Don't just stay back. And Power Apps and Power Automate is the best place to start. So that's my journey. I will hand it over back to Rohan.
That's perfect, Levin. And it's so much inspirational because you started as a SharePoint admin person and now you are a business applications MVP. And yeah, of course, I'm pretty sure that people out there are going to be very much inspired by the story. So next up is Suyog.
Great. I think anyone who has been working in SharePoint, right? So I've been working in SharePoint since Windows SharePoint Services 1.0, right? So it was the product which was very difficult to really deal with. A single deployment of WSP packages back in those days on the on-premise servers, right? That's how my time with SharePoint has been. So I remember in the year 2008 2009, Rapid Circle built an interesting product called Tunnel Point. And that was way early in the market in terms of the thought process for enterprise application. And basically, what it used to do is it used to connect different services available on the internet and bring all those in one place. So, for example, if at any point of time you add a simple entry in the SharePoint list saying Pune, and it keeps pushing back the data about Pune's weather, how is number of people, like population of the Pune and so on. So the idea was very simple back in those days for us to really bridge the gap between internet and enterprise world, right? And it was way early, ahead of its own time. But then eventually, I think the year was 2018, where the first version of Power Platform was introduced. And when you are a developer for so long, you can't really keep away, irrespective of your roles and responsibilities, right? And now I think my most of the time goes in financial side of the business and looking after the customer success. But it's very tempting when you see opportunity to build something very quickly in a very short span of time, and something which is still very, very strong, powerful for the automation of any business processes. You can't really stay away, right? So yeah, for me, it's been fun exploring a Power Platform. I've done so much of automation internally in terms of recruitment process, financial activities, invoicing, QuickBook integration, it's a number of things. I mean, I can just go crazy. I think it is so addictive, I must say, that because before Power Platform was actually introduced, I was very acquainted with if this, then that. And I remember I had my, Wi-Fi switch at home. And I remember my first if this, then that automation was whenever I used to get emails with high priority, it used to turn on the light in my bedroom. So I used to get up, and so that I was already so excited about that, right? And when Power Platform came, that was the exact thing which I could really do in terms of business process automation. So yeah, I think that's how I got introduced to this platform, and since then it's been crazy. You just can't stop once you start with that. You really have to control yourself than spending too much time. So that's my journey, Rohan.
Just a quick story for people out there. So once I was working with some OCR requirements in machine learning, and I was just writing lots and lots of code and doing Python stuff, and it was getting complicated for me. And I was just talking to Suyog. He was just asking, Ron, what are you working on these days? And I explained him this use case, and he was like, you can do this in Power Automate. There is a connector for this. And I did not know about this. And Suyog showed me everything. And I was like, whoa, I was missing out on this. And this is exactly what could have helped me save my time. So yeah, you all know that Suyog is not just a great leader, he's also a typical developer like all of us. Right, so let's move to Vishal.
Yep, it's again similar story. Was working in SharePoint and then switched to Accenture as a SharePoint developer. But then after some time, I got promotion and then I became a manager. So I have to forget the code and there is no dot anymore. So, but when you are a developer, there is always a Kida that you have to write some lines of code. And somehow I was not getting that opportunity. It was only till doing some POCs or reading some article and then a daily mundane job. But then in the Diwali of 2019, I got opportunity from Rapid Circle, and that's when the first time I saw what is the Power Platform. Because there was a code challenge, I started learning what is the Power Platform, and I almost spent 2 weeks on it. And that was the first app I created for a visitor kind of thing. And then yeah, I felt it was very interesting. And then there was no look back. After that, I think I created lots of apps for client, multiple clients of Rapid Circle, and then for the current client as well. Yeah, so Power Platform is, I think it's for everybody, not just power user, but there are lots of things for developer as well. Because I hear multiple times that there is some misconception that because Microsoft have marketed it as a low code, no code, that's why the developers are a bit resistant to move to the Power Platform. But I will assure you that there is lots of things to do for developer. It's not just a low code, no code. Yeah, that's me.
And everyone at Rapid Circle knows that Vishal is working so well with his customers that there is always a long list of appreciations coming in. So in every company updates, there are some kind of appreciations coming in for Vishal. So yeah, his journey has been amazing as well. Srishti.
Yeah. So as you might have now heard that many of us are from SharePoint background, and it has been really for me exactly same. I have been working in SharePoint online since past 4 years now, and in 2019 I remember very well there was a Microsoft conference. It was Ignite conference, and then they announced Power Platform wherein 2 years back. So I just wanted to try out like what exactly Power Platform is and what automation it can do apart from simple automations. But yeah, so I just started playing around with Power Platform since past 2 years and was building quite a lot of POCs, be it in the form of approval or creating applications based on Power Apps. And yeah, since then it hasn't stopped yet. So it has been good. So that's how I was introduced to Power Platform.
That's amazing. And I think this applies to both Srishti and Dipen. These guys have joined us recently, but it feels like you guys have been working very closely with us for a long time. And even though you have achieved some nice things recently, it just feels very, very nice to be part of your journeys. So Dipen.
Yeah, thank you so much, Rohan. Yeah, as I said earlier, I started career with the VB.NET and SQL, the typical views and store procedures I created. And later I got the opportunity to work with the SharePoint later, late 2015. And I remember the day in the 2016, I got the opportunity to migrate the content from the SharePoint 2013 to SharePoint Online. And there is a typical document library called the Mail Enabled Document Library. And the project was from the defense sector. And so security should be there, most importantly. So at that point of time, I got the opportunity to work with the Power Platform, and now we can think that the mail enabled document library is very easiest thing to do in the Power Platform. But at that time, I was like, how can I do that? Because how can I connect to the Outlook and any email category and got those content into the SharePoint document library? So I worked on that around one and a half week, and finally I migrated those content and enabled the mail enabled document library into the SharePoint Online using the Power Platform. So that's the story, to connect with the Power Platform, and then I gradually upgrade my knowledge with the Power Platform.
That's
Up to you.
amazing.
Yep.
Yeah. So thanks a lot for your story, guys. It is really cool to hear your backgrounds. So let's. I think I should have said this earlier that for people out there, feel free to drop in messages. Feel free to drop in your questions, and we will be picking them up. And if you have any question for any specific panel member, we can redirect those questions to that panel member. Okay, so let's try to make this as interactive as possible. This is for all of us. Okay, perfect. So we have been talking about Power Platform, no code, low code solutions and everything. But Clevin, can you just give a quick introduction of Power Platform? Like what even that thing is for people who do not know even what the thing is?
Okay, perfect. So first and foremost, in Microsoft ecosystem, there are two types of platforms. You can say that. One is the business applications, that is the Power Platform. And second is the platform where you can say Word, Excel, PowerPoint. They come into the productivity group. Okay. So when you talk about the productivity group, it is for individual members. That means it increases your productivity. But when it comes to business applications, you need to understand that you're going to increase the productivity of the business as a whole. Okay, I'll repeat. You need to go ahead and improve the productivity of the business as a whole. To do that, Microsoft has given us tools or so-called platforms. We can start with Power Automate. Power Automate is like doing workflows. That means if you have something which is repeating, you can go ahead and use Power Automate and automate that form of thing. You can create mobile applications. You can go ahead and create model-driven applications, and you can also create portals, that is customer-facing portals or sites using Power Apps. If you are into the support business, you can automate the first line of support using virtual agents. And if you're doing Excel, so if you're an analyst and if you're doing Excel, and if you're looking at data, perhaps you can go ahead and use Power BI and go ahead and show your business some good visuals. So that is what Power Platform is. Basically, you're going ahead and impacting the business altogether by using these tools. Okay, so that's a big thing, right? You are a citizen developer and you are impacting the business. So that's what Power Platform is, according to me. It's not a textbook definition. That's what it means to me. Okay, so yeah, Rohan, if you want to ask someone else, yes.
Sure, thanks. So that was a very nice definition, Clevin. Thank you for that. Now, because Clevin has been talking about businesses, that how does it help growing in business productivity? So Suyog, I think you're the most appropriate person to talk about business. That how Power Platform has been impacting businesses and how our businesses or customers are reacting to Power Platform. Or have you ever observed some kind of pattern when it comes to adaptation of Power Platform?
I think it's an interesting topic. First of all, if you look at any business today, right, it's really difficult to stay away from no code platform, right? And particularly talking about Power Platform, when it's so simple and still robust, right, and can do so many things that other platforms yet can't, right? So it makes it harder for people to stay away from that. So, like I said, right, Power Platform has been around since like what 2018, 2019, right? And customers have been playing with it. They've been also cautious, particularly due to the complex licensing, the high price of the licensing and difficulty in governance, right? That's been the story in 2018, 19, even till 2020. But if we look back in the year 2021, Microsoft has been really announcing some of the great things to get more traction to this platform, and which is also helping Rapid Circle particularly to keep the ball rolling around Power Platform with our customers, right? I mean, to give you a little perspective as to what we have done as a partner, Microsoft partner for our customers, is we have delivered more than 100 plus Power Apps in last year and a half, right? So on one side, we do talk about complexity in governance. We do talk about high price, complexity in licensing as well. But customers have been definitely cautiously, but exploring this platform for sure. To take it a little further, right? I mean, when I talked about number of announcements Microsoft did in the year 2021, if we look at like 5-6 important ones, which are kind of a game changer, I believe. To name few is like I came across this starter COE kit, which is now I think managed and maintained by PowerCat team. Then the recent announcement was around application lifecycle management for Power Platform. I think then there was another very important one about reduction in the licensing cost for, I think, the subscription plan, which is per app or per user license, right? That was by 50% reduction. Then they also launched, they talked about pay as you go model, which is another interesting one. So I think for me particularly, again, there was another one which was, data was for teams, because, maybe we can talk a lot about that as well over the course of time. And then, Azure Synapse. So there are a number of things Microsoft has been talking and announcing over the year, right? And it's been a love and hate type of relationship for customer, right? I mean, if I have to go back now to customers and ask them about, would you like to buy, for example, Power Platform premium license for entire enterprise, like we have been selling Microsoft 365, even with reduction in the 50% subscription plan, I think it's going to be harder, right? That is still a significant amount. And if that's my personal view, it's been really hard for us to convince our customers to go ahead and do that kind of investment. Microsoft is heading slowly in the right direction. It's been keeping the enthusiasm about this platform for sure. But I think there are a number of things which, whenever we talk to our customers in terms of what do they feel comfortable in terms of the cost is involved, in terms of the productivity is, in terms of the time being saved for the building and deploying the applications, right? So if you look at, I think with all these announcements, Microsoft has certainly set the direction for the future of Power Platform, right? If they wouldn't have been worried about governance, they wouldn't have talked about ALM. If they wouldn't have been worried about the pricing thing, the pricing thing, they wouldn't have talked about reduction in 50% cost for the subscription plan or launching pay as you go model. It's I think it's a start, and there have been a number of things we are really discussing, and we all, every time we speak to customer about how you look at this model. Now, when I talked about Dataverse for teams, right, it's kind of a free model, and we really have to be very cautious in terms of what our app is going to do. We don't always have to think of per user plans or per app plans or pay as you go plans as well. I mean, if the requirements demands are very specific to certain teams, certain channels, you can still have database for teams, and it's really not going to cost you a lot. Where the storage is still given to you. So Microsoft has been doing everything that they can. If you ask me whether it is enough to convince our customers, it's I think sufficient enough to keep the ball rolling. But I think it will keep on happening. And just to conclude on how our customers are looking, right? If you look at all the surveys around this platform, right? What they are all expecting, particularly in upcoming 5 years, is there are going to be like new 5 million apps, right, coming to this platform. I think if we are expecting something of that sort, what I understand is, irrespective of all the other challenges, Microsoft Power Platform will remain stronger in the coming years, and irrespective of all the other problems we just talked about, right? Customers are still sticking to this, and they are keen to explore more and more. There are ways to make it work for customers, but yes, it's been, as I said, love and hate kind of relationship for them.
Yep, sounds challenging, but I think it's only going to get better in the bigger picture.
Yeah.
Cool. So Clevin, this one is for you because we have a question in the chat. The question is that which technology or language will be better to know with Power Platform? But let me rephrase it a bit because I find this question very interesting. That if I'm joining as a developer, then how can I see myself growing in Power Platform tech stack? So is it fine that I only know Power Apps, Power Automate, PVA, or those things? Or in order to grow, do I need a mixed set of skills?
So basically, if you're starting with Power Platform, you do not need to be a developer, but you can surely extend the functionality of Power Platform if you are a developer. Okay. Microsoft is also talking a lot about this. Okay. First thing, it's known as fusion development. For example, you go ahead. Now, I'm a citizen developer. There's something that is not possible out of the box using Power Automate or Power Apps. There's no connector. I go back to Rohan and tell, Rohan, can you go ahead and do this? Rohan will be like, okay, I'm a developer. I can write like 2 or 3 lines of code and boom, it happens. And I'll be like, is it so easy? So let's go ahead and explore and create a connector. Now let's talk about a real life scenario that came across to me. Okay, I work as a evangelist as well as a support manager for Mohimbi. We have on-premise products which interact with SOAP API. Now, when I talk about SOAP API to a citizen developer, they'll go gaga. What is this? And then I'm trying to sell the product. Now, now in this case, I was a developer. I told them, what if we go ahead and create a custom connector that is a wrapper around the SOAP API and expose it in Power Automate? And they were like, wow. So this is where I had to pitch in a developer. We wrote some code in an Azure Functions, and then we went ahead and got that into the Power Automate, and we did file conversions. Okay, that's a real life example. I have also written multiple blogs around this topic. If you check my blogs, you'll go ahead and find that. Another thing, as Suyok mentioned, Microsoft is continuously going ahead and getting stuff where a developer can also interact. Dataverse can be invoked from any platform, right? If you think you can create a console application and get data from Dataverse, you can create plugins with Dataverse. Now, all of this that I'm telling you is very familiar if you are a CRM developer, right? Yeah. So we need to understand this. If you are a CRM developer, then, and CRM is actually on Power Platform, most of their products such as sales, customer service, right? So all of that is created. Now that shows how powerful Power Platform can be. And if you are a developer, don't worry. You're going to write some code and you're going to do fusion development and going to make thousands of citizen developer happy. Okay. Yeah. And the investment that Microsoft is doing is exceptional when it comes to Power Platform. If we started in 2018, there was no AI. Now we have like AI in here and so on and so on and so on.
Yeah, I think, just to add a little more to what Clevin said, right? The question was like which language they can really focus on. You know, Microsoft also talked about Power FX, if I'm not wrong. I guess Power FX, and that's basically, I think that's basically very similar to Excel, right? What we do in the Canvas apps. And I think the vision could be to make it kind of an open source low code language, right, for them. So that's something from Power Apps building perspective, one can really explore from language perspective. And when you go and explore Power Automate, and if you want to build premium connectors or use premium connectors, have custom wrappers to expose your APIs through connectors. I think, if you're comfortable with PowerShell or C# or JavaScript, whichever language you are, you can just write an Azure function, get the Swagger file, and so yeah, it is definitely going to open a hell lot of opportunities with different languages than just sticking to one particular language, from front end perspective for Power Apps, and from Power Automate perspective as well.
Yeah, and I would also like to add another thing. Recently, I spoke about building custom connectors. When you go ahead and build custom connector, there's a preview feature in which you can go ahead and sprinkle a little bit of code directly. You don't need to go ahead and store something in Azure, etc. So Microsoft is going ahead and thinking about developers as well. So that's something really good.
So the next one is for Vishal. So Vishal, you've been working with a huge customer of ours, which is a very huge company. So how do you see things changing, or how are they reacting internally to adapt to Power Platform in terms of, let's say, governance, investment, or there are a lot of terms which I can throw around, but I think you get my point.
Yeah, definitely. So yeah, Power Platform is actually becoming a blessing for organization. But that again, for some organization, for let's say if organization has some 5,000, 10,000 staff, still it is under control. But if organization is bigger than that, and if they want to implement the Power Platform, it will be nightmare for them, because so let me divide that into two things. So first, how these companies are promoting, because yeah, there is some value because that's why they are purchasing this, and that's why they are investing in this. First value addition is it's Microsoft. So organizations are already using lots of Microsoft product. So there is a seamless connectivity. So lots of standard connectors are there. Let's say take an example of SharePoint or online Excel. So most of these business people have their data in the Excel or in the SharePoint, if SharePoint is vastly used in the organization. Then these two connectors are free of cost, coming up with just EFI license. So that's why organizations are promoting this. So what they are doing is they are just giving the technology to all these people. So in just to play. So in the current organization where I'm working, they are calling it as a DIY, do it yourself. So it is a very attractive concept for out of India actually, because those people just do it everything by themselves. So do it yourself, and they just got technology, they got the platform. So they are started building, they are getting digitally empowered. And because they are domain expert, they have huge experience. Like a couple of people I interact multiple time, they have 40 to 45 plus years of experience in their domain. And if you give them technology, and if Power Platform kind of technology, which is very, very easy for people who are using Excel or PowerPoint for some years, then it is very easy to pick up them. So if that person gets this technology, he will be empowered to do whatever he wants. Then these organizations are again providing some trainings, kind of boot camps. So they are picking up businesses. So this particular organization have multiple line of businesses. So we pick up one business, and then we train them. We conduct boot camp for 4 or 5 days for them, and then we announce hackathon kind of thing. So people are more interested to try hands-on things, because if you just train them and then leave them, they will forget it everything after 4 or 5 weeks. So the hackathon is more interesting for them. So they make group of with their colleagues, and then they create some apps, whatever they are feeling that can make their job easy. And then there is a competition, a healthy competition. Then winners are announced on the Yammer internally, and then there are prizes, some VP awards, etc. kind of thing. So these are a couple of things organizations are using. And then as a part of so this is just to promote. But let's say if you are promoting something and then there is no control. So let's take an example. If we have a 4-year-old kid and we give a crayon to him, we know what he will do in house. So we have to give him a drawing book as well. So that there comes the governance. So for governance, what big organizations are doing, first of all, there should be some rules. So those rules are then controlled by background controls. Like if some people are creating some apps with some connector, which are pulling data maybe from the most confidential sources, etc. Then those controls are highlighting that apps, etc. So these kind of governance is put in the place to make it successful. So we have DLP policies. So DLP policies are well configured on the platform. And so in this particular organization, what we are doing is 2 years back, we started promoting this technology, but we promoted it in very limited way. What we did, we created separately different domain, and then we allowed people to do some development there, and the production data is not shared with that domain. And once they have created something, then there are teams to go through the code, to review the code, and then check the use case. And then if everything is in place, then that app will come onto the production. But somehow after 1 year, we felt that it is not going to be successful because people are not interested in that, because it is taking lots of time. Call a couple of team, then review your code, etc., etc. So then that total domain is discarded, and then the production itself, the default environment we get from the Power Platform, that is allowed to play, and they are calling this environment as a green zone. So here everybody from this organization have access. They have E5 license by default assigned to them, and they are allowed to play, do whatever you want. Even when we conduct the bootcamp, we are teaching them how to create apps and automates in this particular environment. Once after the bootcamp, they keep playing. Once they are creating some meaningful application, then we have a COE team, which is again part of governance, and again a platform team. So they approach to COE team, and there is only one documentation we have kept. So if you keep more documentation, then people will just run away from it, because they don't have that much time to do the documentation. They have idea in the mind, and they want technology to implement it within a short time. So there is only one document, we call it a HLRA. So they have to fill that document, and that document will give them if they are accessing any critical data, or if this application is becoming business critical or not. If that application is not business critical, then we have allocated that app a different environment, a different zone called Amber Zone. So in Amber Zone, it is the agreement is you have to create your app and you have to maintain your app. This agreement is with business. So no IT involved. COE help them to understand the technology. COE help them to build their app, troubleshoot their app, and then once it is live online, they have to support their app. This is the agreement, because their app is not business critical, but they have done something cool that is making their job easy, which is saving some money, which is saving some time. Then let's say if that HLRA highlights that this application is good, use case is good, but it is touching some business critical data, it is going to be business critical, it will be used enterprise wide, then we are allocating that app to the red zone. And here again, to your earlier question, where the developers are coming into the focus, and Clevin also highlighted those things. So when the app is going into the red zone, that app is going to require some custom connector. That app is going to connect to the Dataverse, or that app is going to connect with the SQL Server, which is their most critical data, contain most critical data kind of things. So that's how the governance is managed here. So if you see green zone and amber zone, people are still free to create their app, and if you will be surprised, just in 1 year, these business people have created more than 1,000 apps, and these apps are running without any issue. Very easily, these are created in just 2-3 months of time span with help from COE or platform team. So this is the success of this platform in this kind of bigger organization. Yes, there are challenges. So what happens again? The example what I mentioned you about the kid. These people are using this Excel and Word and PDF for so many years. So whatever they design into the Power Platform, they expect it to work like Excel. So they design everything and they want to modify thousands of or hundreds of rows at one time. They are not understanding the limitation, or we can say the recommendation, how the mobile app should be developed or how the tablet app should be developed. So that kind of challenges are there. Or other kind of challenges are they start with small, they share that this is the use case, I want to build this thing. And once they start, they increase their requirement to something else, and then they demand more, which is out of capacity of Power Apps. yes, Power App is very capable, but again, we have to consider that it is rendering into the browser, and browser have multiple limitations. So there is a limitation. We can't say that, yes, this is the Power Platform and now do everything in the Power Platform. If that happens, then other technologies are useless. But yeah, we have to, in friendly manner, we have to convince them that Power Platform, these are the limitations. And if you use this kind of thing from the Power Platform, then it will be more successful.
So
So
you have to
that's
be
how.
parent at sometimes. You have to be strict, and you also have to give some
Definitely.
slack to these kids. Yeah, that's
Yeah,
a very nice
definitely.
example, by the way. Yeah.
Yeah. So yeah, this is how the bigger organizations are adopting to this. Yes, pricing and licensing is difficult, but yeah, there will be ways.
Perfect. That's some amazing insights from your and Vishal. So even I'm sure that even people from RapidCycle did not know about how streamlined the process is from their customers, and it is helping, like you mentioned, thousands of apps, and that
Yeah.
too citizen developers or DIY people are building. So that's some very interesting stat that you put out there. So thanks for
I
that.
would like to add something to what Vishal said. COE also gives you information of which app is being used the most, okay, and what is giving you the return of investment. Just remember that. So you know what is coming into the business and why Power Apps is helping you. And again, as you said, it's like nurturing kids. So you need to give them best practices. I've seen like people playing with Excel, getting all sort of delegation warnings and warning hai, we ignore. No, we need to understand which data source to use and how to use it. So I think Vishal will agree to it.
Perfect. So next question is for Srishti. And by the way, Clevin, even I just remembered that while I was just working with Power Apps and Power Automate, I was the one who was ignoring those warnings, and later on I faced those issues. So I can relate to you what you're saying.
Yes,
Okay, so coming
exactly.
back to Srishti. So Srishti, there are so many connectors out there, right? There are so many, like there is plenty of things that you can do with Power Platform. So how does it make developers innovative, and how are you using that innovation, or anything related to the business?
So to answer this question, mainly as we heard from Suyog and Clavin and Vishal, that there are organizations who are using and creating tons of applications right now based on Power Apps. So it has been just to bridge out the gap, like just to come make together IT developers as well as the pro developers and citizen developers. So for us, the team which I'm working on, similarly, enterprise organizations have express the similar kind of interest, wherein they asked us to create an application which is sort of creating a new team, how you can go ahead and create a team into your Microsoft Teams. So this is just a small instance, and we can do multiple things apart from just creating teams. Okay, so just to enhance more, so we built out a simple Power App into Power Platform, and that Power Platform application has been also integrated with not just Power Automate, but apart from that, we have Logic Apps and other PowerShell scripting also running with it. So it is not just about low code, no code. We do have to do some kind of development if you want to create a branded and more beautiful organization interacting to the customer's requirements. So this is how our team collaborates and work, and we just create teams, Microsoft teams using that application, and it is quite easy to use because we just have to create wizards on your Power Apps Canvas app, and people can go ahead and take the control of the application. They can add they are ready to use controls. They don't have to give in HTML, CSS majorly. They can just add the controls and they can play with it. They can start and creating the applications on top of it. It also helps us to create dashboard experience, not Power BI dashboard, but some sort of data insights dashboard right into your Power apps. And this way you can integrate with all of the applications and create good organization application. So this is how we did it, and we already have almost 5 to 6 clients for this application working on it.
Oh, that's perfect. So it seems like there are a lot of moving pieces, and you just need to find which piece suits your use case perfectly.
Yeah.
Yeah. That's amazing, and it is helping your team as well, and it is helping the clients as well. And I think it also has to do with how quickly you can deploy those solutions to your customers, right?
Customers. So just to add on to that point, deployment in terms of Power Platform has been quite easy. What exactly easy here is you just have to get the Power Platform solution, and you can easily export that solution into your client's environment. So it is not a big time gap or a big day it will take that you need to sit in a deployment and you have to look out what exactly you're missing. So it is just a sort of import and export solution. Only I'm talking about Power Platform solution.
Yep, got it.
So
And now
even
this
clients
reminds
can
me.
go ahead, clients can go ahead and deploy it there by their own, irrespective of whether developers are there or not.
Right, yep. And this reminds me of this POC that I was working with my team when I was working for this product called LeapALM. And it is a bit ironic that we were trying to deploy no code, low code solutions using the code that we had written. So we had this web app which was supposed to deploy no code, low code solutions. So it was a bit ironic, but later on came ALM packages for Azure DevOps, which you guys have already talked about. So yeah, so that I feel like developer cycle has been, it is getting pretty much easier with each and every time. Yep. So now next one is for Dipen. So Dipen, you have been actively contributing to the community, right? And you have insights. You probably have a bird eye view of what's happening in the community, what developers are leaning towards, what other people are leaning towards. So what do you think that how is technical community or how are developers adapting to Power Platform?
Well, to answer this question, I would like to say something about the how the market is adopting the new technologies, right? So it's directly depend on that community. The number of people are using adopting the technology, the number of developers are will be creating. So as per the recent survey by the analyst firm called Gartner, and it says that 70% of new applications developed by the organization will use low code, no code by 2025. So recently it's the 20% up to 2020, and up from now 2025 it will be up to 70% of application created in the low code, no code. So as Srushti mentioned, that Clevin mentioned that the low code, no code is not just what you see is what you get, but if you deep down over there, then there is a certain windows are open for the developer as well. The only thing the developer needs that the learning attitude. They need to get dirty hands into the Power Platform, and he'll get the certain windows open to make to implement their past knowledge, the development knowledge, or I can say programming knowledge implemented. So yeah, Pune tech communities are increasing the Power Platform, as we have the power user of the community, Clevin, and he is working from last two years into the community. So people are adapting and the requirement are increasing. So the developer are adapting the technology very fast.
That's amazing. And Dipen, can you quickly tell us that how can one get started with Power Platform itself? Like what is the easiest and best solution to, let's say, even to get a lander job in Power Platform?
Yeah, Vishal has given a good example that if we take some certain to the child, then what he do. So let's start it with ourselves. We can take one routine example, or I can say business scenario that we need to calculate some home expense, monthly home expense, and I need a app over there. So I can start from that at least. There are the certain resources available from the Microsoft that you can go to the Microsoft Learn, and there is a step-by-step learning sessions over there along with the some virtual machines, and over there you don't need any subscription, all that. The temporary subscription is created into the VM, and then you just need to follow the step, so you can get the idea how the Power App is developing, how the Power Automate is working on. And apart from that, there are the if you are the very new to the Power Platform, then start with the fundamentals. There is a one exam called PL900, Power Platform Fundamentals, and it includes all these basic concept regarding the Power App, Power Automate, Power Virtual Agents, and the Power Portals. So, and after that, gradually you can increase your knowledge, and yeah, do examination, give for the certification, because examination is must to validate your knowledge. If you are learning continuously, but there is nothing for validation, then it's not the worthless, right? So Microsoft documents are best to learn to start the Power Platform.
That's
We'll just
amazing.
like
So
to add something to what Deepen said. So if you already have your E5 licenses, just like Vishal mentioned, so you can go ahead and explore Power Platform, and there are ready to use templates for each of the scenario, be it Power Automate, Power Apps, or Power BI. You can have ready-made applications and you can play around with it just for the
Yes.
starters. So you can do that as well if you don't have much knowledge or hands-on. So you can try hands-on that way, apart from labs and documentations.
I would also like to add one. First and foremost, look at the Microsoft Learn documentation. That's very good. Now, depending on what you want, start with PL 900, then take up PL 400 if you're looking at development, if you're a developer. Other than that, the best way to validate your knowledge in addition to certificates is contributing to the community. Go and try to answer questions, see what real life scenarios are coming through. Try to answer them. And if you can answer them, yes, you are at the right place and that's
You're
how you can
learning.
get a job. Yeah, you're learning.
Yep.
That's what I
You're
can say.
learning.
Learning.
Yep.
Yep.
Rohan, quick one. We have 9 minutes left. Maybe can you pick up the AI question? We do have
yes,
in-house AI experts, maybe.
of course. So yeah, we already know the question that how can we integrate AI with Power Platform? So it's an open question. So I think Vishal has worked with AI Builder. So let's first start with Vishal. And like also Suyog said that we just have 8 minutes left even now. So let's try to keep it quick.
Definitely. So AI integration is very seamless. It is very easy. Only difficulty is the license cost. So it is very costly. And if you aware about the Azure Cognitive Services, it is very similar to that. So from AI Builder, normally we have um, form processing, then image classification, then object detection, then prediction. These kind of AI models we can use from the AI Builder. There are already existing trained models in the AI Builder. Addition to that, you can create your own models. You can train them with your data, and then you can simply plug it into your Power Apps and automate. So in Power Apps, you have a connector. In Power Automate, you have connector. Simply you add that connector and start calling your models, passing data to that model, and you get the result. So very common examples. Even there are those examples are used in the Microsoft videos as well for promotion of the AI Builder, and that is invoice processing. So that comes under the form processing. So basically, if you have a PDF invoices in multiple formats, then you can use that for training that model. And simply you can use that model into your Power Automate. So let's say there is a use case, you are receiving invoice on your email. So simply build a Power Automate to read your new emails, get the attachment, pass it to your model, and it will give you the values. Then you can use that values starting from invoice number to dates to amount, whatever is present in that invoice, and you can put it into your other systems which have, if they have any connector, or again you can implement you can use the RPA there, and you can put that into your legacy systems like SAP or any other systems. So it is very seamless. Only thing right now stopping people from using it is the cost.
Cost. Yep.
So this is exactly what the innovation question was. And this is also an addition to it, right? That if you're innovative, you can just do a lot of things by integrating things together. And AI is one of such components. Right.
So I myself have used AI Builder for managing expenses. So we like just to we definitely go ahead and shop, and you have so many invoices at home. So what basically we do is we just have that invoices into our data list and pick up the data and calculate it, calculate the total expense for the month based on the model, Power BI model. So I myself have tried that out and I'm using it. So it is quite a good scenario. But what Vishal mentioned is, yes, it is definitely very costly, and which is stopping many of the people from using that connector.
Just one thing to add, you don't have to be a data scientist, or you don't need to know anything related to AI if you're going ahead and using AI Builder. Or, yeah, exactly. So just go ahead, plug it in, train your model, and then that's it. You can use it. Yeah, pricing, I'll not comment.
Okay, guys, so we just have one last question left. Yeah, so I think this came from the delegation discussion that we had, that how can we tune up Power Apps performance? that is loading, caching. So has anyone got any experience with tuning up performance?
I think in the past, there are a number of things, right? You can do. Individually never came across such a requirement, but I remember when I was doing the kind of automation where I really wanted to have one frame for Power Apps where it was showing all the a number of things I was showing, the number of controls, the kind of connections, number of connections I had. Then there is an on start property. I guess I don't do this development every day, but I remember that I think you have to be really smart in terms of what the data you cache, the data which is not going to get changed. You really have to store it in cache. You have to make sure the number of connections you are having on the in the app are limited. I think there are some magic numbers, maybe 20 or 30. I don't exactly remember. I think it is 30. But there are a few things which can be really implemented in terms of having the performance effective. There is a good amount of documentation available as well, but particularly for me, it has always worked when if you're using custom connectors. Many times I've seen custom connectors giving performance issues as well. The kind of result that you are returning from custom connectors is also important. You have to be very smart in terms of what data are you showing on the page. Are you unnecessarily fetching data which is not required? So I think do's and don'ts are number of options out there, but to mention few, the number of connections on the page, number of dependency on the controls on the page, and an on-start property, setting up that and caching of the data could be some of the very important ones to keep an eye on. Anyone wants to add anything more to that?
On the same line, so delegation, we have to first understand what is the delegation.
Exactly.
It totally depend on what data sources we are
Data
using.
source.
And the Power App by default gives you 500 row limit, and you can increase that to up to 2000. But after 2000, you cannot pull the rows. And there are a couple of methods which support delegations, and there are a couple of methods which you use in the Power Apps which do not support the delegation. So that is again important thing. There is a very nice video by Reza Durrani on the YouTube on this delegation thing. Yeah. So
yeah. So to add delegation, even I have a video on M365, I guess, related to delegations. Delegation, it's important which functions are supported and what data source you're going to use. Data source is also important, what delegatable data source. In addition to that, I have also seen people going ahead and using refresh, etc. very commonly. You don't need to go ahead and use certain functions unless you need it, right? Because that's something. So fine tuning your application, it's something like, first, do not ignore warnings. Okay, if there are warnings, look at it and see how you can get rid of warnings. Secondly, be smart when you're using a data source. Don't use Excel. No, Baba, don't use Excel. Use something better. I've seen big apps getting created on Excel. That's another thing. And yeah, that's pretty much it. I think that's basics.
Yeah, and on the same line, multiple time people thinks that SharePoint is not a right data source because it has a 5,000 rows.
limit.
But when you are going to pull those 5,000 rows into your Power Apps,
you're not going to show them,
right? So every time you will have to your fine tune your search, you have to retrieve very less rows. 2,000 is the limit, but I can say you have to pull at least 50 to 100 rows, and then gradually you have to do the batch processing, etc. Because no user is going to see that many rows on your Power Apps. So delegation or performance, all those things are starting from there.
So also there is this delayed loading kind of feature, right? Which is actually experimental yet, but I haven't used it. I just read it in one of the blogs while we were talking, but worth exploring. What's that?
And
simply use the gallery control, and by default it provides you the delayed load mechanism.
Delayed load.
Scroll down, it will get the more rows.
And one more important, I would like to add over here, that how we can use the tables and the collection of the out of the feature of the Power Apps to store the certain filter records and pass it to the one screen to another screen. And so those inbuilt features can play an important role as performance perspective.
Yeah.
And for the audience out there, Aishwarya has been putting up some very useful resources. So whatever we've been talking about, Aishwarya is trying to gather as much information as she can for you guys, so that you can, after the session, you can go ahead and check out the resources and at least get started with this amazing technology. Right, so guys, I think we are right on time, so it's time to conclude this. But it was really a great experience talking to you guys, and this is a very strong start to RC Talks. So thank you very much to everyone for taking their time out, and especially to panel members for some amazing insights. And I personally enjoyed the session because I got to know so many things from you guys. And it always feels very friendly to interact with every one of them. But this was something next level, to interact with all of you at the same time. So yeah,
Thanks for
feels
having
like
us,
we are
guys.
back in office.
Same feeling here, Rohan. Thanks
Thank
for
you.
the
Yeah.
platform.
Likewise.
Thanks, Rohan.
Thank you.
Thank
Cool.
See you.
you.
Thanks all.
Bye.
Thank you.
Have a great
Thank you.
evening.
Bye.
Bye-bye.
Great
Bye.
weekend.
Bye.
Bye-bye.
Bye. Bye.
Bye.